Okay, welcome back to American Literature Class 15, Summer 2020. We're going to continue with Huckleberry Finn, Mark Twain's masterpiece. You can see from the picture that there is this raft. It's not a ship, it's just a raft. A collection of logs put together and taken as a vehicle for running away from society by Huckleberry Finn and by Jim himself. Okay? They are on the Mississippi River. The Mississippi River is the symbol of freedom, the symbol of life, the symbol of conviviality, that people are together. Okay? Today we are going to cover chapter 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In chapter 5, Pab starts in on a new life. Pab struggles with the death angel. Fool Pab and get away. I spare Miss Watson's gem. The house of death floats by. These are the chapters that we are going to. Chapter 5. When Jim doesn't show up, Huck swims to the bank. They are on the raft, and it seems at certain point Jim goes without coming back. Here, Huck swims to the bank and begins walking. Soon he comes to the Grangford's house and is kindly invited to stay. He discovers that the Grangerfords are in a long-time feud with a family called the Shepherdsons. Jack, the Grangerford's slave, leads Huck to a swamp where Jim is hiding. But just then, a fight breaks out between the families and several people are killed. Under the cover of this chaos, Huck and Jim slip away on the raft which Jim has patched up. In chapter 6, while looking for berries near a creek, Huck is approached by two ragged men who are being chased. What is the story of these two men? After rescuing them and taking them back to the raft, Huck discovers that they are two crooks, thieves, okay, twisted persons who claim to be the Duke of Bridgewater and the King of France. This is funny. Yeah, people in rags claiming being one claiming being the Duke of Bridgewater, like the chairman of a place. Okay, a person who is in charge of Bridgewater, which is a place, and the King of France. This is even bigger. Okay, and their language is like cynical. When Huck and Jim hear about the crooks' outrageous money-making schemes, they wish they had never tried to help them. They are with them on the raft, but these two crooks, two thieves, boast about money-making schemes they are planning to do or they wish to do. Okay, these words are important. I want you to take care of. Sure, cost, spite, malice. Malice means anger, negative anger. Okay, animosity, pique. Okay. Animosity is derived from words such as enemy, for example. Chapter 7. The King and the Duke hereby will be called all the way the King and the Duke. Okay? Now, still unable to get rid of these two peoples, the King and the Duke, Huck finds himself involved in another of their schemes. Yeah, this is a predicament for Huck. He tried to save them, okay? he fled the society seeking tranquility to find him that the society is riding with him on the very raft on which he wanted to escape. This tells us that the society is dotted with these people. Wherever you go, you will find them. Number two, this can tell us how Huckleberry Finn is so innocent and kind-hearted and ready to help, but how he also gets himself in trouble because he doesn't know how social dynamics are functioning. This time, the crooks pretend to be the brothers of a dead man in the hope of inheriting his money. Okay? They claim that their brother died and they are looking for having his money after his death. Pretending to be their servant, now Huck has no any other way to get rid of this hustle unless to pretend, unless to appear something that he doesn't believe to be. Okay? Pretending to be their servant. Huck soon feels sorry for the dead man's daughters, takes the dead man's money bag from the king's room and returns it to the daughters with a note of sympathy. Yeah, this scene is very important in the novel where Huck accompanies these two people after they put their hand on the money from the daughter of the dead man. And a series of events happen before this daughter comes to trust Huck. In the first instance, she thought that he took the money as a thief, but eventually she discovers that these people are the thieves and Huck wanted to save her from losing the money. Okay? Yeah, this can tell you how the situation is inflicted with lawlessness at the time. That people are innocent at the same time and they can be easily deceived. And how come two people come from nowhere and claim that they are the brothers of the dead man? Are these signs, early signs by Mark Twain, of a deconstructed society that people do not know each other? Okay, starting with Pab's, with Huckleberry Finn's daddy, Pab Finn's, and his relationship to his son, his extremely faulty relation with his son, and this man and the absence of his family, that anybody can come and claim that this is my brother and I want his money. Huck sees his chance to get away from the scoundrels when the king gets drunk in town. But when Huck races to the raft, he finds that Jim is gone. When a boy on the road says he saw a man selling a runaway slave at the Phelps place, Huck makes up his mind to steal Jim out of slavery. Now again, Jim is sold and Phelps place is the place where Jim is taken. Now, here is the conspiracy or the plan or the plot in which Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer will orchestrate escape to Jim. Spec Point, towing, hauling, yonder, beyond, or there. Yonder is like specifically Midwest word. Okay? Chapter 8. Now the plot of freeing Jim. It is interesting that they are trying to free Jim while in her deathbed, Miss Watson frees him in her will. They are trying to do something that is already done. They are taking the trouble of doing something that is. This tells us how these people are not knowledgeable about their situation, okay, and how they are innocent and haphazard. Okay. Arriving at the Phillips place, Huck is warmly greeted by Aunt Sally, a woman who mistakes him for her nephew, Tom Sawyer. In order to protect his mistaken identity, Huck intercepts Tom Sawyer at the dock and explains that he faked his own murder. They decide to tell Aunt Sally that Tom is his brother, Sid. Their plan works. That night, you see how the society is deconstructed. How did she mistake Huckleberry Finn to Tom Sawyer? These people are like blinded. Their plan works. That night, while out looking for adventure, the boys see an angry crowd carrying the Duke and the King, tarred and feathered, out of town on a rail. I want you to contemplate the idea of tarred and feathered. They apply tar on them with feather stuck to the tar, meaning that they are humiliated. This is like some sort of punishing. Yeah, in our tradition in Arabic, in old ancient days, a person, if they want to punish him or him, they would put him the opposite way on a donkey and apply honey on him for the flies to come and stick to the honey. I would like you to go and read about the cultural similarities in this text and in Arabic culture, just in order to absorb what is happening. The idea of superstitious instances, the idea of the tar and the feather here with the Duke and the King. Remember the Duke and the King who wanted to take the money of the dead man, believing that they are his heir. Okay? Then Tom says that Jim may be tied up in a hut behind the Phillips house. The two boys plot to set Jim free. It's a risk now they are taking. They want to set him free in a society that believe that if a slave escapes, he will be subjected to severe punishment. If a person helps a slave free, then he is also subjected to punishment. This is not like an easy thing that they are going to do. But because they are kids, they do not actually recognize the consequences of their behavior. In chapter 9, back at the Phelps plantation means farm, Huck and Tom dig a tunnel into the hut and find Jim. Yeah, they took the trouble, and so much so they are trying to come to Jim from beneath. As usual, Tom comes up with a clever, elaborate plan, including a mysterious letter left on the kitchen table. What is this? Okay, Tom is trying now, as a person who writes and reads, to do things, but what is the effect of this letter? He's trying to be as a planning person, to appear as a person who plans, as a person who owns wicked ideas, sophisticated ideas. Okay? Does this backfire? I leave it for you to think about it. As usual, Tom comes up with clever, elaborate plan, elaborate, detailed plan, including a mysterious letter left on the kitchen table. All these plans or all these moves at the same moment while Miss Watson was declaring that she is going to set Jim free. So the trouble is needless. They took trouble that was not needless. Okay? As the boys and Jim try to run for it, they are chased by a crowd of armed men. Yeah, they are kids, they cannot plan. But imagine how a society is irritated, easily irritated by kids. Okay? How they chase up a slave who wants to free himself. Only when they reach the raft does Tom tell Huck and Jim that he has been shot in the leg. Oh my goodness, he's shot. Now, this is a source of concern for Huck. And he will rush to find a doctor. Leaving Huck on shore, the doctor uses the canoe to go back and take care of Tom. Yeah, the doctor takes care of Tom. Back at the Phelps place, Huck finds that Aunt Sally and Uncle Silas are worried sick that Sid is missing. Sid is the name given to Huck, or to the third boy. Please check this out. Now, besides is as well bunched, agglomerative, bunchy, clustered. I'll leave the book for you on Moodle for more words. Here we finish with chapter 9. The book is of 43 chapters. I want you to go now and read about how these events unfold and to analyze the cultural aspects that dominated at the time. In mind, you take into consideration, or you bear in mind the motivations behind these kids' actions, and also the motivations behind Mark Twain's portrayal of the society, using these kids as his vehicle to transfer his ideas on the society, and also to see if there is any connection between Mark Twain's own childhood and Tom Sawyer and Mark Twain himself, Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. So the question is there any connection between the childhood of these two boys, adventurous boys, Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, and the childhood of Mark Twain himself as a writer? Was he disobedient? What problems did he have? Remember that his father died of pneumonia when he was a kid, okay? And at his early years, when he was young, at early years of young age, the American Civil War broke out and he had to change jobs, okay? And he remained stagnant, remained jobless for a while because of certain social and political turmoils. So now, what is the role of religion? How religion is portrayed in the novel? How is religion portrayed in the novel? Some people raise the idea of Mark Twain being atheist. Was he really atheist, or he was against the official religious establishment? There is a difference between being against the clergy and being religious or irreligious. People sometimes mix these two concepts together. Sometimes a person is criticizing a behavior because of this behavior is not acceptable, okay? Especially when you declare, when somebody declares that they guide people to do good things and they themselves do not do good things. Remember when Huckleberry Finn asked Miss Douglas to smoke, and she prevented him on the basis that smoking is not a good behavior. After a while, he spots her taking a snuff. And in a certain point, he is asked to know about Moses. And he says something like, why should I know about somebody who is centuries dead? I don't have any connection with him. Was Huckleberry Finn trained as a boy to be against the religious rules? And can a boy go that far in challenging the social and religious dogmas that are dominant in his time? Or is it because he's a child in first place that he is able to rebel against these dogmas because he doesn't know the consequences of rebellion? These are questions for you to think of, okay? Now, I leave you, and hopefully next time we'll start with chapter 9, okay? Bye-bye for now. See you.